Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating source text called God's Handiwork. We're going to look directly at how the author connects the everyday wonders of the natural world to the concept of a divine creator. And we'll break down the specific evidence they use to build their case. Right off the bat, the author makes a pretty bold claim. They write that even after 6,000 years of what they call the heavy curses of sin, the natural world is still an absolute marvel. For the author, this enduring beauty is an eloquent testimony, basically undeniable proof that a creator actually exists. So to get a handle on this, we're going to map out the author's argument by looking at the testimony of nature, beauty over bare function, a precise atmospheric balance, marvels of human anatomy, and finally, critiquing the naturalist worldview. Let's get to it. Starting with Section 1, the testimony of nature and a 6,000-year perspective. The text paints this picture of an Earth that's been under transgression for almost 6 millennia. But here's the catch. According to the author, the incredible beauty that still survives out there in nature, it's actually meant to add deep meaning to every single moment of our lives. They suggest that when we count our blessings, we really need to start by just looking out our front doors at these incomparable natural wonders. Moving right along to Section 2, beauty over bare function and the purpose of aesthetics. Okay, so the author poses this really fascinating hypothetical. Imagine if we lived on a totally bleak planet, just gray ground and completely colorless plants. Functionally speaking, we could still survive, right? But instead, the text points out that our Earth is clothed in this restful carpet of living green grass and foliage. And the argument here is that a creator did this specifically because they wanted humans to actually be happy, not just merely survive. Just think about the sheer scale of that for a second. The author emphasizes that there are a staggering 500,000 varieties of contrasting blossoms and leaves draped all across the earth. 500,000! To the author, this incredible variety is definitely no accident. It's presented as deliberate aesthetic design, which they see as absolute proof of a creator who truly loves beauty. But it goes way beyond just looking pretty. According to the source, hidden inside each one of those tiny buds are complex biological secrets that actually continue to challenge and frankly baffle the genius of our greatest scientific minds even today. All right, let's jump to Section 3, a precise atmospheric balance, breathing by design. Take the exact math of the air we're breathing literally right now. The source highlights this highly precise blend, exactly 79% nitrogen to 21% oxygen. Now, the text explicitly rejects the idea that evolution or just blind chance could ever produce such a perfectly calibrated life-giving mixture. Instead, it frames this exact mathematical ratio as intentional design that is absolutely 100% necessary for our survival. Next up is Section 4, marvels of human anatomy, specifically focusing on the eye and the ear. The text points out that our eyes are arranged so delicately that no combination of human scientific genius can fully understand them, let alone duplicate them. And it's the same story with our ears, which connect to a brain vastly more complex than the largest supercomputer on Earth. For the author, this undeniable complexity is nothing short of a direct miracle. They actually point out what they see as a profound irony here. Unbelievers actively using these miraculous, hyper-complex eyes and ears to listen to lectures on humanism and evolution. And that brings us to Section 5, critiquing the naturalist worldview and the source's perspective on science. Here, the author poses a pretty pointed question. Who are these people who scorn the record of God's creative power? The text frames naturalists and evolutionists as merely a tiny fragment of finite humanity. It argues that, breath by breath, the very existence of these scientists relies entirely on natural laws over which they literally have zero control. And the text makes a really fascinating philosophical pivot right here. It asserts that by rejecting divine origins due to a lack of empirical evidence, scientists are actually just building their own theoretical creeds. Believing that blind, unintelligent nature somehow created life out of non-life? Well, the source argues that requires ascribing miraculous qualities to matter itself. It's a stance the author boldly labels as an unyielding, absolute faith. So, according to the text, the evidence of this design is literally all around us. We see it in the 500,000 flower varieties, that incredibly precise 79 to 21% atmospheric balance we talked about, and the ridiculously complex eyes we use to observe it all. But how does our worldview actually shape what we see? As we wrap up this explainer, the source leaves us with a profound thought to chew on. How can the exact same natural wonders be viewed as either the result of completely unguided processes or the ultimate proof of a divine creator? Could it be that what we see depends entirely on the lens we choose to look through?